What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for August 21st. That's a Monday, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller.
Monday.
Alongside.
Choking already. Choking
Danny
on that
O'Dwyer.
news.
What was that thing
Your
where
throat is clogged with
I needed
news.
to power through because I took down a Cliff Bar right before this.
A Cliff
And
Bar?
I got one of them little macadamia nuts back there.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Wait, you just chomped down on a Cliff Bar?
Nom, nom, nom,
It's
like
a lot
that.
of protein to be taken.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that what they're
so,
about?
right?
I don't know. I don't know what all's in there.
Nick Scarpino, you use Cliff
I
Bars?
feel like they're healthy, but Nick always tells me Cliff Bars aren't healthy.
A lot of sugar?
They're basically candy bars.
Basically candy bars.
There's a lot of protein and nutrients in them, but they're candy bars.
Nutrients.
But
See?
so it's better than eating a Snickers.
Way better than
Okay,
Oh, it is.
Cool.
But a
Thank
Snickers is more delicious. Snickers is the most,
it?
the
I
most
don't know.
delicious candy bar in the world. We're all in agreement,
Okay.
right?
Here's the thing. No, I mean the
Marathon?
The best candy is just M&Ms. Just give me a handful of M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms.
No, regular
Nah,
M&Ms. We don't
no.
need this peanut garbage.
No.
All right.
I don't like regulars. Peanut or crispy.
Oh, Krispies are good.
Or pretzel.
Yeah.
Pretzel ones?
Pretzels are good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
have you had these
maybe-
caramel ones?
No.
For a
What's
while-
caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel?
Caramel.
Yeah.
You want to get into this fight too?
He's making fun of the way you talk.
Cool.
See?
Cool Greg had them over there. Had the Krispies and the caramels all mixed together. And we
I
had
don't
that.
have.
It was
Have
delicious.
you, what are those ones where it's different each time? What are they called? There's
Mistakes. That's a mistakes batch.
Some European candy where they're different each time. Where it's each one is like one's a Malteser, one's like coffee, one flavored, one's and you're like what's it gonna be? But you eat them in lumps anyway.
Like
so it
Jelly
doesn't matter.
Bellies when they do like the
Yeah.
weird vomit flavor.
Yeah.
All right, knock it off. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we jump into the nerdy video game news you need to know about. We get in depth, we get hands-on, we give you impressions, we read your questions, and we have a good time. If you like that, you can watch it live as we record it on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You, of course, can interact with us live over there. We don't pay attention to the chat. We're trying to make a polished podcast here. Doesn't always work, but we're trying.
Don't even pay attention to eclipses.
No, not even.
Whatever.
Eclipses. We got nerdy things to talk about. You can though go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. While you're there, you can tell us what we screwed up on the show while we do the show. So at the end of the show, we read it, we set the record straight, everybody enjoys it. If you want to watch later, you can watch on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or listen on podcast services around the globe. Thank you for your support, no matter where you get it. I ask you to go back it wherever you can. Go over there. Do it. Maybe go to Patreon, you get some, or get shows early and stuff. You get entered to win prizes, stuff like that.
All that good stuff.
You got the Twitch Prime, you could do with that. Subscribe to all your friends, all that jazz. Speaking of supporting us, this Sunday is the kickoff of GameStop Expo. We'll be there Sunday, streaming video games, interviews, and stuff, having devs come by, show off their wares.
GameSpot Expo.
Did I say GameSpot?
No.
Okay. I slowed down. I was like, I'm not going to screw it up. Stop Expo. Yeah,
Got
GameStop Expo. Which I didn't screw up, I don't think. No. Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong if I did. We'll be streaming all Sunday from Vegas, from the show floor with games, devs, and stuff like that.
Back
if
to
you're there
Vegas.
for the expo, come by and say hey. And then the weekend after that, believe it or not, is PAX already.
Yeah, I know, right?
PAX Prime sneaking up on us
My
right
goodness. PAX West, my friends. Prime is gone. It's West. West, cunt.
It's one of those things where
West.
it's with code names where everybody's like, that was the code name was better. I'm still gonna call it Scorpio or whatever, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
eventually
yeah.
just fades away, and you forget that you even had it that.
Or
before.
they release a console with Scorpio written on
We'll
it.
get to that here in a second. At PAX this year, we're doing a bunch of stuff. Danny has a panel Sunday at noon.
Sunday noon.
I have a panel Sunday at 5. Come to both those panels. Why not?
Do it.
Say
It's
hey
your
to
Sunday
us.
wrapped up.
And also, hey, free retweets to whoever brings Danny the little Irish cream things and gives him this little Irish cream.
Sure.
You do that. You tweet it out. I'll retweet you for that. Just go ahead and give it to him. Let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. There are 7 items on the Roper Report.
Whoa.
A baker's dozen.
Thank you, Joey.
We're getting close to legitimate baker's dozens.
We'll never do it. That's how it goes. If it gets to 13, we don't say it and we just move on.
Galling. Okay.
Number 1 is a follow-up to our big rant on Friday about Yeah, you were really fired up about it. About this whole Life is Strange Before the Storm. The Platinum, of course. There's the regular edition, the deluxe edition. Deluxe edition comes with an extra episode called Farewell. Originally, the trophy list went up on Exophase and everywhere else, and it looked like you had to get Farewell, which meant you had to buy the deluxe edition if you wanted the Platinum.
Which
Otherwise,
sucks.
it'd be unattainable.
Yeah.
Right. We all said it sucked.
Yeah.
I hoped on the show that this would just be a mistake and it'll be fixed, whatever. Literally, we finished the show, published the show, and Square Enix emailed us and says, this was a mistake on our side and not our intention to gate the Platinum Trophy via the optional bonus episode in the deluxe SKU. We've already started speaking to the first parties about rectifying this.
Best case scenario.
Yay, Square and Deck 9. Good job. Get up
Yay,
there.
Greg Miller.
I didn't do nothing.
I'm sure you helped push that.
I mean,
Internally
I'm
a
just
little
being
bit.
very loud about it. But I think they, as soon as that went up, I'm sure enough
Right.
switches clicked in people's head of like, oh, no, that's a bad look. We got to
Yeah,
figure that out.
totally.
Now, it is interesting. I wonder, is it easy to fix?
Right.
The game, episode 1 is this week, right? The 31st? No, that's not this week then. It's the 31st, right?
Soon enough.
I don't want
like,
to fucking,
like
you're
a-
wrong about this. Somebody tell me when life
10
is
days
changed.
from now. So
Okay. When that hits, that's got to be fixed.
31st,
So we'll
Thursday.
see what they're up
Thursday
to.
week.
Yeah. I don't know how fast you can get another trophy list out there and do all that stuff.
Presumably, there are triggers within the game code that are what's hitting PSN. So
Sure.
I imagine, I don't know, day one or whatever. Also, though, I imagine they have all the search stuff they do with Sony beforehand to make sure that the trophies are fixed in. They would have had to go in and tweak that as well. So I'm sure it's not no work.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not a lot of work.
And I hope
But
somebody's like letting them push it forward faster than they need to.
That's a great do-over. Fair play.
Yeah,
Fair
good job.
play
Good job,
for them for
everybody.
doing it, yeah.
Pat yourselves on the back, people who yelled on Reddit like I did. Good job. Number 2 is another PlayStation thing. This one might be outdated by the time you get to it. PlayStation Europe tweeted today, but like 3 a.m. today.
Yeah.
Quote, we're getting geared up for the reveal of something new.
Geared up.
Exactly. And they had all these lights and a very not bad computer. Like, here's the. Okay, I'll just jump right to it. All right. Well, if you haven't seen the tweet, it said, we're getting geared up to reveal something new. And then it was like lights coming up, and there was a little thing there was a thing with a red tarp
Yeah.
over it. And looks like a slim box. So people started freaking out, like Chris Brown. Chris Brown!
Wow, Chris Brown.
He's taking time out from making music and being a bad guy to come here and do this.
Being an asshole.
Gents, I'm just going to get right down to it. What do you think is under the red sheet? PlayStation has teased a big reveal on their official UK Twitter with no information other than 10-second video of an object under a red sheet with dramatic lighting and the text, we're getting geared up to reveal something new. Could it be a new portable, a slim PlayStation 4 Pro, or even the next generation of hardware? I have a prediction. Picture this. Shuhei Yoshida walks out without saying a word. He grabs the red sheet, whips it off like with the skill of a matador. Underneath is a screen, and on the screen is a single line of text that reads, you can now change your PSN usernames. Everyone goes, wow.
Oh my god, that'd be brilliant! I would be legitimately excited.
Oh yeah, that would be best case scenario. Because with all due respect, Chris, like you're way off the mark. This is not going to. They didn't tease a big announcement. They said they're gearing up.
Yeah.
For it's. I assume like the rest of the internet has been saying Gran Turismo bundle.
Right.
Maybe a PlayStation 4 Gran Turismo bundle.
Are we reading too much into the gear? Could it be? Think about all the gear video games.
Yeah,
Gears of War.
I mean, but
coming
like
to
that's. Oh yeah,
PlayStation.
that would be a big announcement.
Metal Gear.
The thing about Konami would be
Ratchet and Clank.
gear. No, the problem is like, and with all due respect to whoever made the animation is just not that great.
It's terrible.
It's not the caliber of we're announcing a new platform, a new thing.
No.
I think it's going to be the sheet falls and it's just a Gran Turismo bundle or whatever for PlayStation
What if
4
it's
Pro.
a Game Gear?
That'd be also different. That'd be
PlayStation
very.
Game Gear. That's hardware as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I see what you're doing with the gears. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just think you got to let
Gearing
them, I
up.
think it's
Marketing people,
And then somebody
man.
else responded. It was PlayStation like Espanol or whatever responded
Right.
with a car emoji. So it's probably going to be Gran Turismo something.
What if it was a new PlayStation 3D television?
Just let it go, man. Oh, wait, the PlayStation 3D television that I
Remember
can
that?
wear glasses and you can wear glasses and we see different images?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Remember that shit?
Oh,
It
yeah.
looked like a big PSP.
Yep. Yeah, Kevin loved it. He used them as monitors for a long time.
They got real cheap.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Right.
why I think we started using them as monitors for a long time.
Yeah. We'll see. I just love the idea of them doing this when Microsoft's having their day. When
Yeah.
Microsoft's doing all their stuff. And, they're
And I
like,
think
yeah,
that was a big part of it.
us too. Yeah.
Because, number 3, Xbox had a Gamescom press conference over the weekend, Sunday.
A games conference.
A game conference.
as we say in the industry.
It's what we do say in the industry.
the industry.
If you missed it, you didn't miss much. A lot of people were just giving them shit for doing the same E3 presentation over again. But the big takeaways.
That's the wonder of Gamescom.
Yeah. Xbox One X pre-orders are live if you've missed it.
Yeah.
And then also, Minecraft and Shadow of War are getting Xbox One S bundles this fall. And you were upset about that.
I am like many people.
Yeah.
I'm upset that the Minecraft. Well, there's a question about it.
Zyger! wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, hey guys, over the weekend, Xbox had a bunch of announcements, including the Xbox One X pre-orders and Scorpio Edition.
Scorpio.
We didn't talk about that. There's a day one, basically, edition that says Project Scorpio on it. It
I
looks.
think it's already been sold out.
Oh, really?
I think
so.
so.
Don't even need to worry about it then.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked kind of ugly, honestly.
Yeah, it looks
I think
cheap.
the Xbox One X looks pretty.
Yeah.
I thought this one, it was like, it's
It's like a dumb sticker stuck on it.
some
It's
green
like-
stuff still.
yeah.
Whatever. During the announcements, they showed off a Minecraft limited edition Xbox One S console. My question is, how come this isn't an Xbox One X console? I know, I'm most likely in the minority of gamers, but I love this console's design. Creeper controller, light up redstone circuit on the back. It's all wonderfully designed and speaks to fans of Minecraft. As someone who's bought Minecraft across 9 different platforms,
Whoa.
I want this console, but I was upset that it isn't the upgraded Xbox One X console. Also, can we talk about how the design team at Xbox always kills it with special edition consoles, while the team over at PlayStation seems to have been lacking in both quality and quantity? Love you guys.
I am not a massive fan of the individual, like the wrap, like these types of consoles.
Yeah.
But god damn it, I felt the exact same way. I
Yeah.
just the Minecraft console looks so good. I'm not even like I used to play a lot of Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'm not like a huge Minecraft fanboy, but I would totally get this version of the Xbox One X. But I can thematically see why they would not necessarily have. It kind of fits better as an S, right?
Sure.
Like it's not the most powerful, demanding video game.
Yeah. It's all, you're always gonna get
cheaper
knocks.
price point,
But they're
for
doing
the
4K.
younger-
They have 4K patches and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, the reason here, and I don't, again, putting on the business hat, but not the business degree I have, nor have we been in these conference rooms with these discussions.
you run a business.
I do run a business. I guess that's one, and not that well. Patreon.com/kindafunny. The takeaway I've always had with this is the fact that, okay, we are launching a new console. We want all eyes on it. We want it to be as simple for the consumer to understand and get behind. So here's what the console is. Period. End of story. Project Scorpio Day 1 edition, sure, like you said, sold out. That's for the hardest of the hardcore. You want
Yeah.
that thing. You want it to be cool. Just somebody in the store, I want them to walk in and understand this is the Xbox One X. There is one version of it. Don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Buy it and go home with it.
Yeah.
And that makes sense here because, I mean, the consoles and the limited edition bundles and gold PS4s and Xbox One X or S Minecraft, these start to come around when, cool, what is keeping you from buying an Xbox, or what is keeping you right now from buying a console? And then what is also, what could move people to buy a second one? What
Right.
would buy you, especially when you talk about PlayStation 4 Pros and Xbox One S's, what can we do to get you off the bench with what you've already been using, what you've already had? Granted, same argument for Xbox One X, but you want it to be simple. And also at launch, you don't want people thinking that way. Xbox One X is out. I need to go get it. I was
Yeah.
talking to you earlier, right? Like, I'm with you. Like, I'm in the same boat. Love Minecraft. I don't love it like Zyger does, obviously. And like so many millions and millions of people do.
You've been got on 6 platforms.
Exactly. I only have it on 4. You know? If that would be a thing of like, oh, you know, I don't need an Xbox One X, but that Minecraft one looks cool.
Right.
Maybe but it's that thing of that would also have a chilling effect, I think, in some ways, of the fact of, oh shit, they're launching with the Xbox One X and they're putting out the Minecraft version right away. I'm sure they're gonna have insert game X here down the line, and I'll
Right.
wait for that one.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is like, you put out these consoles, you want them to go get them on day one. You don't want them to care about how they look. But then when you get to, all right, it's been out, Xbox One S has been out, over a year now. How do we motivate you to go do that?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. It's almost like 2 problems for 2 different markets. Like I feel the exact same way. I was hovering over buying one. I have a launch Xbox One. I have a launch PlayStation 4. I've never upgraded either of them.
Yeah.
I don't have the Pro. I don't have an S. So I was like, oh, will I get it for Scorpio? And I was like, oh, I just don't, there's nothing here for me. But if
Yeah.
that was the Minecraft one, I totally would have ordered it. But I can also see like they're running into a fairly big problem with the XS thing already.
Yeah.
Like when people go to retail and they see that there's 2 different versions, they almost say the exact same in like a really like, you know, Jimmy or Mary told me to get them an Xbox One X for Christmas, but they go to the store and it's like SX.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you don't know which one's which, it's almost impossible.
Well, this
to
one's
like,
just $100 cheaper.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So like that's, I feel like, you know, they probably don't want to then confuse it even more. So
Yeah.
it's weird. The fact that I mean, the bundle for the Xbox for the Shadow of War one even looks cool as well. I kind of wish they'd done an X one of that.
Yeah. I forget, you Google on your real
Yeah.
computer. Is the Destiny 2 PlayStation 4 bundle a PlayStation 4 Pro, or is it a PlayStation 4 period?
Regular.
Vanilla. Like, guess what they call them? Slims. What are you gonna do?
1 terabyte limited edition. I think it's just regular 1 terabyte PS4.
Yeah. See, that's my biggest issue right now with what they're doing with the PlayStation 4 is like, all right, cool. PS4 Pro's been out a year, or pretty much this holiday season a year. Why wouldn't you start making bundles with that? Granted, it's more of a cost, but it would be the same thing of, well, I like Destiny if that was a really cool.
Take it back, it is a Pro.
Thank you. Okay,
which makes sense.
Yeah, but I was happy to finally see them start doing that, and I hope to see them do more of it. I'm sure this GT bundle, if that's what it truly is going to be the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And that makes sense. Where it's like, all right, cool. Like, how do you upsell? I'm the guy, right? I keep talking about it where I'm waiting for my PlayStation 4 to die and I'll buy a Pro, but I don't need it, right?
Yeah.
But if it was like, hey, we're putting out an, insert games Greg cares about.
Right, Patapon.
Jesus, if they would have bought a Patapon one, I would have been like, yep, done, in.
But I bet a major part of it from their perspective is tying it with a console, with a piece of software that takes advantage of the hardware as well. Minecraft's not a good fit. Shadow of War, it's a third party, it's not a good fit. Whereas GT or Forza or something like that, that makes sense, right, to bundle with it.
100%.
So I wonder if that's part of the marketing.
Probably is. That's a really good point. Yeah, and I mean, Destiny has pro features and stuff, and that's what they're going for.
Yeah, it is a pro game, professional game.
But that's the thing where I think that makes so much more sense than trying to sell people like me that are just like that domino that's wavering. Right. Or if it was like, all right, cool, we're putting out. I mean, I'm sure by the time Last of Us comes, Last of Us Part 2.
What would be the thing that would push you over? Because I know you're more of a Sony fan.
Yeah.
But you're also somebody who would buy that console if given the right reason. What would be the thing that would need to push you over the edge?
I would want it would have to be something cool and limited, probably, right? It would have, if the Destiny one, I like Destiny. Well, first off, the Destiny one, the controller's ugly as hell. They didn't try. There's been a million problems with it, but it's just not cool enough for me to be like, fuck yeah, I got to do that. But I mean, if they I love the 20th anniversary PlayStation.
Right.
If they could do another one like that, right?
That was amazing. I would have loved to have gotten one of those.
If there was another Batman one that was cool or something, or if there was a Superman one, or if there was I'm trying to think of games that are actually coming up, right? Like
Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yeah, that would have been all right, but it's like that, and they're not going to do a bundle for that game, and so then it was be like, what is the big first party? I mean, the big one I guess right now would be Spider-Man.
Right.
If they're like, hey, PS4 Spider-Man's coming and it's got this fucking kick-ass, awesome PlayStation 4 Pro, and it's fucking red or blue. And here's the thing. I know it's fucking Insomniac Spider-Man, whatever. Don't put the giant white spider on there. Right. I do not like the giant whites. I still don't like that costume that much. I love that when they're talking about upgrading it. I'm like, am I going to be able to get away from that and get to a more real? But if they had a really cool fucking red and blue Spider-Man one, I'd be all
a Horizon one I'd love. What about an Xbox? What would the nothing?
No.
Wouldn't make a difference?
I mean, for me with the Xbox, it's
again first party piece of software that's really good that you can't get anywhere else, like a Titanfall or
well, I mean, what, that I couldn't get anywhere else in terms of the bundle?
Yeah,
I have to buy the bundle to get the game?
No, but what would get you to upgrade to an Xbox One X?
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not a knock, and it's not me being a PlayStation fanboy. It's just an honest assessment of I don't use my Xbox. I turn it on once every 6 months now, or if PlayStation's Netflix app is shit the bed or something, I'll go over there to do it. But I'm not Tacoma was the last thing I played. Before that, I don't even know. State of Decay isn't going to be a technical powerhouse, and that's the next Xbox One game I can't fucking wait for. So it's really no, and it's just that shitty thing of I can justify when the PlayStation 4 dies, right? Immediately, I'm getting a PlayStation 4 that day. It's on Amazon. I'm ordering it, right? And it'll be a Pro.
Right.
If it was hey, here's this fucking awesome Spider-Man bundle, I'd be like, well, I like Spider-Man quite a bit, and that's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
But even that's the PlayStation 4 is in a similar boat of just there's nothing pushing me right now to get the Pro, just because there's nothing. I see the enhancements being, oh fuck, that's so much better. Even download speeds, that is it's better Wi-Fi, all these different jazz like that. But for the most part, it's me here at office. I buy a game or I redeem a code, and then I go on my download list and tell it to download at home, and nobody is any the wiser. And I get home and it's all there and it's great. So why would I worry about it? It's just the fact that my PS4 is on every day.
Yeah.
And it's used every day, whether it be for watching something or doing something. It's just the ecosystem I'm in.
It's weird. Everyone has their primary ecosystem.
Yeah.
And PC sort of lives to the side of that a little bit for some people. Like myself, I have my front of television time. I have my PC time. But I wonder, because we're sort of approaching that time period where folks start to double dip and get into the other console.
Yeah.
But I really think, I kind of feel like the Switch has taken Microsoft's lunch a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people have bought the Switch as their second console. And because it's such a different experience to the core PlayStation Xbox experience. I wonder if that's like people are kind of satiated, like they're happy now.
Yeah.
They've got all these awesome games on the go and they can play them with, on the Switch and a very different library, and then the PlayStation kind of or the Xbox satisfies that. So maybe
And
no
that's
one's
the thing is,
buying
like,
the other console.
If I feel like what we've talked about, and we talked at length about it last week with Xbox's problems and exclusives, it is that argument that you're making where it's like, a great example, Thimbleweed Park was coming up.
Right.
I love Ron Gilbert. This game looked awesome. Can't wait for it. And it's on my list of things I gotta play. I can't wait for this. I've seen it at PAX, blah, blah. I got it on Xbox, did the whole thing, downloaded it from here, back to my Xbox.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. Whereas I was like, I gotta get to that, but I'm playing this and that and the blah, 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 blah. And then by the time I was like, Thimbleweed Park, I gotta play. Oh, it's coming to PlayStation 4 this week. Well, it's like, and then it did happen where I'm like, all right, cool. Oh, I can't wait to play on PlayStation 4. And like, oh, it's coming to Switch too. And I was like,
right.
fuck, that's a great idea. That's a better Switch game, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there's so much crossover and parity now. Where back to your question of like, what could get me to buy an Xbox One? Like, really nothing, because I just don't. This is my argument even about if this wasn't my career, I bought an Xbox One at launch. I know how much I've played it. That if they were tomorrow to be like, hey, we're making the Xbox 2, I would be like, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't use you enough this generation to really justify getting you. I could have not had an Xbox One and probably been fine.
And there's another weird thing that happens as well, is that, like, we're sort of in the position where professionally we do this, so we'll buy multiple consoles. Most people, like, and especially before I worked in the industry, or before I was trying to break in, I'd stick to my one console, right? So if you're an Xbox user now, and you're enjoying it, it's basically got all the third parties. It has a bunch of pretty good exclusive games between Forza series and Titanfall 1, and there's there are good exclusives on the Xbox One. What's like you are kind of making a decision between buying an Xbox One X and buying a PlayStation 4 Pro, because if you're going to spend the money, you could easily, granted, you're going to take your library with you if you go to the X because it's the same platform, but I wonder if that's also part of it, where they kind of just need to have another step for Xbox people there. It's just, I really feel for Xbox fans, especially as somebody who loved my 360 and PlayStation 3 I barely used except for like some amazing exclusives that were on there. But it just goes down to what we said last week about software. There's nothing to get excited about. In the weird world we live in, where suddenly the Switch went from what's going to come out on us to banger after banger after banger. The Xbox One X, I'm hoping that we're in the same situation where there's not really anything there, but hopefully maybe next year there's a bunch of really good games and suddenly it makes a lot more sense for people. Because I feel for Xbox fans, because they deserve to be able to feel as excited about their platform as clearly PlayStation fans do with the Pro and with 3D, with the glasses and all that stuff.
The glasses.
And Nintendo with the Switch. The glasses, sorry.
VR.
No,
the VR. We have questions about VR coming too. But I want to dip into reader mail here, actually. Cool. Because Tori Thompson wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, kind of on a thread you were tugging on there. Hey, sailors. This may seem sort of mean or overcritical, but I swear it's not meant at all that way. It is meant as food for thought. Do you guys feel as though your years and years in the gaming industry have made it difficult for you guys to understand average gamers' concerns and thoughts? Free games, hardware, open lines of communication with developer friends, and even making your money by spending money on gaming. Has this made it hard for you to remember what it was like to have cash for one... to remember what it's like to only have enough cash for one game every couple of months, etc. I know you talk with the community and even mention how, quote, the average person who plays games, end quote, but I would love to hear you guys discuss how a decade spent in the business has changed your perception of video games as a whole. Hope this didn't come off like a dick. Thanks from the Twin Cities, Minnesota, Tori Thompson. Not a dick at all, Tori. A good question.
Valid question.
I think it's one that we try to bring up often. You know what I mean? Colin and I did it back on PS I Love You a lot, and I know every so often we talk about it here, the fact, well, of course, I got a code. I'm redeeming a code and downloading it there. Right. Or oftentimes buying it. It is that thing where, for the most part, we have free reign, where it is like we know everybody, and so hey, can I get a code for that? Can I do this? Blah blah blah. Yeah. You can get games for free usually pretty easy, but there's times all the time where I'll buy something because I want to. Like I've said before on shows, like season passes. What I like about them are, hey, I got your game for free, but I like it so much that I'm buying the season pass with my own money and everything else. Consoles, with rare exception, are usually purchased, especially at launch. Like I think all the consoles I use, with the exception of the Xbox One S and I guess the PlayStation Anniversary Edition, but those are both my doubles or whatever.
Right.
I'm getting off track. So it's this weird thing, especially in this Xbox thing and what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And the fact of, for a lot of people, they chose Xbox One at the onset of this generation, and they've used Xbox One from here on out, and they don't have a PlayStation 4, and they're fine with that. And that's what we were talking about with the ecosystem before, in terms of where you are. I think it's different. If you only have an Xbox One, but you bought a 4K TV and you are into that boat and you're all over it, maybe the Xbox One X is something you're going to do. And I saw a lot of people pre-ordering, and I know certain stores are sold out of their pre-orders already, so it seems like there's an audience for it there.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel slightly different in that I've only been in the industry for, like, I broke in when I was like 26. So, like, I've been in for 5 years. And I never was on a review team. So I rarely got, like, I got some free stuff, but like most of the time I was still buying my own stuff and earning like a games journalist wage in London. So I was basically up until probably a year and a half ago, paycheck to paycheck for like a good 10 years. So I never had like the whole, all this, like I felt like I was pretty in tune with at least the getting stuff. When I also worked in retail for a number of years, so I feel like games retail, so I feel like I kind of have a pretty good handle on the way in which people like value games. And like I traded in games and bought games, and predominantly bought secondhand games and rented from Blockbuster probably up until my second year at GameSpot UK. So like I feel like what's changed more so about my perspective on the games industry is from talking to developers, I'm now way more sympathetic to game devs than 100%. I was before. Like I would have been jumping on people for like shitty DLC practices and like games that were buggy and day one patches
here or there.
And like I think from just having like a dialogue with people, that's made me feel a lot more sympathetic to developers.
100%. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where I feel like
that's a great point. That's definitely something that's happened over the years, because it used to be, oh my God, don't they see that this is broken? Don't they know that this is bad? And you talk to developers like, no, we fucking know. Do you understand how many things we had to get right before that? And at some point you got to ship, and you got to say, all right, like that's as good as it can be. That's a great point of how that goes, and how we talk about it, I think, on these shows a lot, even of like, like we're going to get, the next story is the Mass Effect thing, right? And they're taking it on the chin again about this. And it's like, well, business decisions, how well the game went, and so on and so forth are a big part of it. It's
totally different to, I have put aside $60. I've been looking forward to this for, especially in video games, like maybe 2 or 3 years. And I'm putting all my goodwill into this. And then when it's disappointing and you've spent all that money, it's like, it
crushes.
Sucks. It crushes. Whereas in a weird way, the way I feel like games journalists, or even like streamers or YouTubers or anyone, is that we're so like we work on a week by week basis where it's like, what's the next thing to look forward to? What's the next thing to look forward to? And you kind of justify the extra expense you spend on games because it is your business or your job. But when like most gamers now, it seems, are playing less and less games, they're just playing that game for a lot longer. So it's a different mindset. Whereas like, there's somebody who'll play PUBG for probably 2 years, right? Or Destiny's a really good example. Whereas like, I don't have the time to do that. I got to play all these other games to make sure I've got all my fingers in all the pies.
Exactly. And that's I think it's interesting, because growing up, I would venture to say there were more gamers like you and me who were like, I'm buying all these games, I'm trading them in. There's this constant flux of I want to try everything. And I do feel, as you've seen the market fragment and games coverage fragment, there are way more people who are like, I play 6 games a year, but one of those games I play like Dota, and it's 1,000 hours a year I'm putting into it, or something crazy. And that's where we are in this weird landscape for a lot. And I think a lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers are the same of, I'm still trying to play everything. I want to know about everything. You talk about your pile of shame and like them on the shelf still in their plastic wrap. Like that's another giant problem.
And those AAA games taking up way more of the time is why that AA space has sort of been swept out 100%. From under. And in a weird way, the indie stuff, because the nature of those games kind of being smaller and being more interesting and unique, they've kind of taken that whole middle tier, which used to be like the games that would drop down to $30 after
all
a couple of weeks.
Games,
right, totally, right? Yeah. Your Red Faction Gorillas of the world. Like really good games that are just like, I'll wait a couple of weeks. Like those have now kind of been replaced by the indie stuff, which is a little bit more interesting. So, although I really love Red Faction Gorilla, I wish I had picked that one out. So it's a different time. But I mean, the other thing about perspective is that like you never when you lose perspective, you don't notice you've lost it.
Exactly.
That's the nature of losing.
I'd like to think.
So I don't know.
Tori, the question is really for you. If you feel like we cover it well, I mean, you guys are what keeps us honest. You know, I will always ask you to write into kindoffunny.com/KFGD with questions and opinions about like the Xbox stuff or Agents of Mayhem or whatever. Like, I want to know what it is because I think I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, but it is that of like, cool, I'm not invested in because I have 15 other games to go do, but I don't know, is that how it feels for you guys or not?
You know what changes a lot as well? Getting older.
100%.
Like,
oh my God, you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's why it's been interesting and very, knock on wood, that this all has worked out with Kind of Funny and everything else. Because it was like, as you get older and your perspective shift, and like I wouldn't have been able to, like when we got to IGN, we were all so hungry and so ready, and 2 a.m. doing SmackDown videos or whatever. And it's like, nowadays I'd be like, fuck that, I'm going home. Like the work will be there tomorrow. And like that works here when it's like, we want to talk about games and I'm really into this game or that game, and we're gonna, like, you know that you're gonna get an Uncharted review for us, but you don't come here expecting us to review everything because that's impossible for the 7 of us to do, not to mention that we just don't want to do that anymore. We want to work a different way. And so it's been fascinating to see that, to see we get older, you start partnering off, getting married, when our friends start having kids and how much they play and how they play. Like talking to our friend Eric at Kevin's bachelor party, you know, he's like obsessed with Zelda, but he's obsessed with it with a guy who's got a great career and a wife and his not newborn anymore, I guess he's a year old, but like juggling all these things of like, well, where are you in Zelda? And it's like, this game's been out forever. What are you talking? Well, of course, you're only chipping away at it like in 15 minutes every 2 days or something. Yeah,
it's strange.
Yeah,
it's a one fun aspect I think of the games industry or games coverage is watching the demographics get older as well. And I'm really excited. Like, man, we're going to have so much fun when, like, all of us, when we retire, it's going to be the fucking bomb.
Oh, my God. We're going to actually play these games again?
Oh, like, old people today, I'm sure that, you know, you can do whatever you want. You can do, you know, actually, some actually really good streamers. This lady who lives in I think it might be West Virginia. It's certainly Aurora, Virginia, who streams Skyrim. She's actually got a panel at PAX West. I got to check that out. That's going to be all of us.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the back cash. Imagine going back and just playing some Genesis.
Sure.
Playing some Mega Drive just when you're like retired.
Well, that's that's what I was talking about. Like, you know, it's
Grandpa's gotta get some
worked out
Chaos
for us
Emeralds.
is that, you know, when I was here, you just aged out of being in the games business, right? You didn't, games journalists or whatever you want to call them, enthusiast press, right? You just hit a wall eventually and you're like, I'm going to PR, I'm going to development, I'm going, there was no, I'm going to go, either you became editor-in-chief of IGN, or which never moved, or you went somewhere else and you didn't, you know, just went off. And so like now as you see our audience age with us and want to keep following us and keep doing the community thing, it's like, that's where we are right now.
It's so good. And games have also gotten more mature. And I know people get like pissy about it sometimes. Go back and watch like 90s like press conferences for video games and realize how targeted at 15-year-old boys games were for like 15 years. Like, no wonder everyone aged out. No wonder like it was only dudes who were like getting targeted for, or not, you know, women were falling off. And like, you know, it makes total sense. It was like, for whatever reason, there was just this madness where marketers got a hold of video games and just made it like for this group of people.
Yeah.
And like, that's why my sister or my brother stopped playing games.
100%, right?
You know, because like he was like, oh, fucking, you know, whatever.
It's a tired story for longtime fans, but it's what I was talking about with video games, and like why I'm so lucky with everything is the fact that video games matured with me.
Right.
Whereas it wasn't that thing where people who got older, not older, but like, you know, your older brother maybe doesn't have the same affinity for games because, that was a kid's thing and I left it behind.
Totally.
Whereas I went with it and it all started ramping. You know what I mean? Like the only time I ever was wavering was
like a 5-year like sweet spot.
Exactly. I remember being in high school freshman year and we went to homecoming and I was talking to a friend from junior high I hadn't seen in a while. He's like, are you still into games? I'm like, yeah, but I'm thinking about, like, it's just, there's not, it was right at the N64 was tailing off. And I'm just like, is this all there is? I didn't say that. I didn't have it like eloquent words, but it was like, is it always just Conquer? Is it always just, you know, a Super Mario? And then I got a PS1 and found Metal Gear and I was like, oh fuck, like this is what games are going to be. They're going to be this thing that makes me feel in a way that I thought only movies could, but even more than that.
And I was like 18 when 2004 hit, which was like the year. It was like World of Warcraft, Half-Life 2, Metal Gear, like all of these super good games. I think kind of like a bunch of us kind of went, all right, we're still running. We're still,
and that's the same thing, right? Where it's like I always talk about how cool it is to think about that, you know, all the Naughty Dog, right? Like Neil and all these people that are making these amazing games and these crazy stories and all this crazy shit. They grew up playing Mario, Super Mario Brothers, and NES and whatever. And it's like, what happens when the generation that's growing up right now, playing
Right.
all these amazing Last of Us or anything, State of Decay, whatever you want to say, cool games. I'm not talking about platforms. What about when the people we think like Journey's high art? What about the
Right.
people who grew up playing that, then get to like, I want to make games now. What are their games going to look like? And then it is the same thing of now that we're no longer just a kid's medium and you're not chasing people away. What does a 60-year-old Neil Druckmann make for his audience that's still there and still wants to play games, but doesn't want to maybe have it be twitchy combat and like we can't move that fast?
Yeah, it's interesting. That was a fun chat.
Thank you. I like chatting with you.
We've still got like 4 news points.
We do have a lot of news left. Number 4, there's no more single player love for Mass Effect Andromeda. This comes from BioWare's blog. I'm going to read it in full. Since the release of Mass Effect Andromeda, we've worked hard to address feedback from our community. From improving animations to expanding customization options, we look to respond to your concerns and build upon what you loved. With each patch, you let us know we were heading in the right direction, and we're grateful to everyone who joined us on this journey. We're proud of what we created, and we hope you enjoyed it as well. Early in development, we decided to focus Mass Effect Andromeda's story on the Pathfinder, the exploration of the Andromeda Galaxy, and the conflict with Archon. Archon? I never got that part of the story. Never even got there. The game was designed to further expand on the Pathfinder's journeys through this new galaxy with story-based Apex multiplayer missions, and we will continue to tell stories in the Andromeda Galaxy through our upcoming comics and novels, including The Fate of the Quarian Ark. Our last update, 1.10, was the final update for Mass Effect Andromeda. There are no planned future patches for single-player or in-game story content. In the coming weeks, our multiplayer team will provide details of their ongoing support for and upcoming content, including new multiplayer missions, character kits, and what's in store for N7 Day. We appreciate all the millions of people who came with us to the Andromeda Galaxy. We hope to see you again in the Mass Effect universe, the Mass Effect Andromeda team. What's your initial read?
I mean, it's so sad that this needs to even be said. Like, I guess they had touted that this might be a new trilogy or a new start to the franchise, so they kind of need to put a full stop in it, but you never see this happen.
Exactly.
It just tails off and people forget about it. It just goes like the story of Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda is not like a bad game. The problem it has is the same problem that like Half-Life 3 would have if it came out. In that there's so much expectation for this game, and then when you end up falling so flat on that expectation, and you spend all that money is probably a large part of it as well.
You're still making games for EA here.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a business.
And this is one of the biggies. Like this is their
tentpole, one of their
totally
tentpoles, right?
Tentpole RPG for sure.
Yeah.
So it's a massive shame. I feel for everyone who worked on that game because it looks like they put a lot of work, time, effort, and blood, sweat, and tears. I'm sure, and they didn't make a bad game.
Yeah.
They just didn't make a sequel to one of the best role-playing games of all time, and that's what people wanted.
Yeah, it's fascinating they put this out there, but it is the right thing to do, because you could have gone the opposite way. Not say a fucking word. You know what I mean? We're not talking about anything, and then people are tweeting you, and like in this day and age, you can't ignore those comments forever. Every panel you'd ever do from here on out about Dragon Age or anything would be like, and what's going on with Andromeda? Are we getting more story? We never got the arc, blah, blah, like because people thought that was going to be the story content. Instead, now it's a novel. You'd get it forever, so you have to come out with the bad news and drop it on them, and then hopefully put a full stop on this to then get people geared up for Anthem or Dragon Age or whatever comes next.
Yep.
Multiple people wrote in. Let's start with Alex.
Unsurprisingly.
Alex wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD just like you can and should, and says, hey, Kinda Funny. BioWare has put Mass Effect Andromeda to rest by announcing there will be no more single-player patches coming out for the game. In my opinion, Andromeda got a bad shake across the gaming world. It wasn't perfect, but the story was good, the characters were memorable, and it had meaningful choices for which the BioWare games are best known. That being said, after I completed the game, I had no real longing to go for a second playthrough. However, I would have jumped back in if there was more single-player DLC released. Now, Casey Hudson, current GM of BioWare, tweeted that he'd love to come back to Mass Effect at some point, and I really hope they think about it after Anthem and possibly the rumored Knights of the Old Republic game comes out. Do you think they should try and continue in the Andromeda universe and see how your actions affected the Andromeda Galaxy in a far future, maybe when the writers are long gone? Or do you think they need another fresh start? Or should Mass Effect stay away for good? Thanks for all that you do, Alex, a.k.a. Koyensi.
I think if they come back to this, it'll be no team Like this is talking about like the difference from being in the industry to being outside of it.
Yeah.
No team within BioWare or whatever team ends up taking this in the future for EA, if they reboot Mass Effect, will want to have anything to do with Andromeda. And
100%.
it's not because it's a terrible game.
It's tainted fruit.
It's total. Why would you choose to be like slightly, at a disadvantage with your audience from the off?
No matter what happens from here on, I mean, like, they're done, right? This is an interesting comparison, I feel, to No Man's Sky. Where
Right.
over a year, they really tried and did it and worked and chipped away at it to the point that with that last patch, people were like, I'll try it again. Oh, it's selling well. Okay, cool. Mass Effect Andromeda's done, which means the public opinion right now about it is what it'll be.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be a punchline. It's always going to be, holy shit, did they fuck that up? It's never going to, these aren't, I don't think accurate, portrayals of it, but it's going to be the crab walk. It's going to be the glitches. It's going to be the facial animations. Sure, they brought it around. They did some things, but you're a new team. You don't want to jump, because that's the whole thing. By the time they'd get back to this game, right? Because you figure Montreal got merged with Motive, all these things. By the time you get back to making the next Mass Effect game, I doubt the architects of Andromeda are going to be there. And so nobody wants to be hamstrung by what somebody else did before, but nobody, more importantly, wants to be, hey, it's Mass Effect Andromeda 2. Like, we're fixing these things. Nobody wants to start that uphill battle. What they want to do is, hey, it's Mass Effect. Hey, this is what it is. Maybe it's Shepard again. Maybe it is a full reboot. We're just doing it. We're going to do this again. We're going to do it differently. But I honestly think they're going to stay away quite a while.
And like Andromeda lends itself well to being this little sidestep.
Yeah.
First, it's not named Mass Effect 4.
Yep.
It's named Mass Effect Andromeda. The fact that the title and everything that happened is like regionally located somewhere that is in the narrative out of the way, like it lends itself to have been. It's full part of the canon. I'm sure it will be referenced if they do future games, but it would be madness for them to decide to try and continue that.
I mean, I think you figure the Star Wars rumor would be awesome, but I don't want to believe it till it happens. But you figure, like, for real, they
have options.
They have Dragon Age going. Yeah. They've already talked about that, but then they have Anthem, and Anthem is they're trying to make that's going to be the big thing. That's going to be this this console cycle's Mass Effect, and so that's all hands on deck. That's what they're going to pour it into, and if that game can live up to that fucking debut, then you're going to have all these people on board with it who are awesome. And the problem is that Mass Effect trilogy, right? Ending, even with the ending, right? So revered in gaming.
Yeah.
N70, such a big deal. Hot Topic tights and tally figures. And like, it is a video game that broke through into the mainstream where people like who don't know video games probably understood from somebody they knew that was Mass Effect, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then this was very much like Mass Effect Andromeda is very much a moment of not weakness, that's not what I want to say, but it's a very human moment, right? When you think of Mass Effect and it's up on this pedestal, Superman, right? You saw Superman fall down here. Like, you saw BioWare trip and stumble and fall down when everybody was like, you guys are God. It's the same thing of like, when, not if, one day Naughty Dog will make a bad game or a game that under-delivers, and people will be like, oh, I didn't see that coming from blah, blah, blah. And while that'll hurt Naughty Dog, it doesn't hurt Uncharted in the way that Mass Effect screwing up a Mass Effect game hurts Mass Effect.
Yes.
To the point of, okay, they're human. Like, what do we do? I think people are going to stay away from this for a long time. They're going to work on these other things. And I think the fact that Andromeda happened and wasn't that great is also going to silence the whole, man, I'd love another Mass Effect game.
Yeah.
Because it was forever. Like, oh, the trilogy's over. I want one. And then it's like, you got one. And now the last thing you taste isn't the great stuff of the trilogy anymore.
And like, there are certain series that will continue throughout time, and it's great. We have a new Sonic that's good, and Mario will never die, and all this sort of stuff. But I feel like the third person action genre that we have right now is so just sequels based off of the last generation in a way that I just think we need to shake it off. Not even third person, like even like the Halo sequels, Gears of War stuff, even Uncharted. I'm happy Uncharted wrapped up. If there was an Uncharted 5, I'd be like, oh, God, you know, we've had enough. Mass Effect, I feel like the same way. Mass Effect was an amazing trilogy. I love those games. But let's let them do something else. Yeah, like let's 100%. Let them evolve.
And that's the thing. We can't always sit around here like, I want new IP, I want new ideas, right? And then, you know, we say that, but then maybe they don't get supported or they don't get the sales they need, and that's why it was awesome. We're like, all right, Guerrilla's finally hanging up Killzone for a little bit. Right. Holy shit, Horizon's awesome. Amazing. And that's when you look back at.
And I'm a huge Destiny fan, but I'm delighted that they did that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a new thing, new ideas. Great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you talk about how expensive games are now, how long they take to make. That's why we are in the sequel culture.
Yeah.
I think you can see people shake it off, but it always was refreshing, right? I always talk about it with Naughty Dog, right? All right, cool. PlayStation 1 is Crash for the most part.
Right.
PlayStation 2 is Jack and Daxter.
Right.
PlayStation 3 is Uncharted. End of PS3's Last of Us, and that gets into PS. But I mean, this is the first time where there's like these. Not the first time. That's a lie. There's more bleed here than there was where I'm with you of like, cool, Mass Effect was great and it was a great trilogy. Let's fucking stop, do Anthem. Let's see what Anthem's all about.
Yeah.
Let's try something different here.
We haven't had that incremental step.
Exactly.
We need software to do it because hardware has kind of become, there's a ubiquity now.
Now, I'm giving MSU Hitman a chance to chime in. He's very upset.
What's MSU? Is that a university?
I believe it's Michigan State University, if I remember correctly, from hanging out with MSU Hitman.
That's a bold username.
Yeah. Well, it was a different time probably when he made that username.
Yeah. Like
Hello,
15 years
everyone!
ago.
As if my hatred of Mass Effect being dumped for Anthem wasn't already high enough. BioWare times their official announcement of no more updates or single-player DLC to a Saturday when the majority of games media is off, and also before Microsoft's Gamescom press conference to try their best to hide this announcement.
Games media is never off.
I agree. I thought this. I was at the winery on Saturday.
Really?
What the fuck? Really?
Take it back.
This is where it is? Well, I was there, but I was just like, that's a weird thing to drop here. Also, they are now making their fans pay more money for comics if they want to know what happens with the Korean arc, which was the single-player DLC teased throughout the game. This has just fueled my hatred of Anthem and reinforces my decision to boycott Anthem, as it's nothing but EA trying to copy what Activision and Ubisoft did with Destiny and The Division, and those games in their vanilla states were bad to meh anyway. EA better not fuck with the Dragon Age 4 team, or I will go back to boycotting buying any EA games, just like I did from 2005 to 2009. Blame me for Dead Space and Mirror's Edge not selling great. Thoughts? Thanks for taking the time, and sorry for the long rant. MSU Hitman.
There's a lot of unnecessary anger here.
Why hate on Anthem? Anthem looked cool.
Yeah, like I don't think they're
Iron Man.
trying to do the Destiny Division thing. Like, come on, man. Like, yeah. Like, okay, the DLC thing. You're gonna have to pay for the DLC anyway. Let's pay for comic, or just look at a message board the day after the thing came out.
Recaps, yeah. Also, were you that into the Korean arc that you really need to know? Like, what the fucking? I mean, maybe you were. And I'm not taking. Don't get me wrong. Just like more power to you. I didn't know anybody cared about Andromeda this much.
Dead Space and Mirror's Edge were great.
No, that 100%.
Yeah.
He's saying
He boycotted it.
yeah, exactly. His boycotting is what killed Dead Space.
Yeah, like I don't know, like
But also, Dead Space needed to just stop too.
well, that turned into its own weird mainstream action game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, good idea. Let them do new ideas. Like, we should support developers for trying something new and dangerous. It's like we can't both criticize companies like EA for creating sequel after sequel and also criticize them for having new ideas. And it's not like their resources are endless. Like, this is a company who spends tens of millions on any one individual project. That's the type of scale that they work at. So they have to be thoughtful in what they do. So, like, I don't like the idea of criticizing both of them.
I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, bad games happen, or games that aren't great happen.
Right.
Mass Effect Andromeda wasn't that great. Consensus.
Yeah.
I'm happy that they're treating us like adults right now.
Yeah.
Of like, hey guys, we're done. The game's over. You don't have to worry about it. That's the end of it. Like, we have to make these choices. We have to communicate them to an audience. We have to go.
Yep.
And I think it is. I don't know if you're boycotting because Anthem doesn't look good. You're making a giant leap there that it's like EA copying Activision, Ubisoft, blah blah. Like, obviously, everybody loved Destiny. Could have had more story. Yada yada yada. Whatever you want to say. I loved The Division at launch. Could have had more story. Yada.
They both tapped into something that neither of them I feel like hit us, but there's something there.
And as they worked on it, right, all these games get better and better. I think I don't want to fault them for this. And I do like the idea that I want Mass Effect to stop. What I always said was when we were coming up to The Last of Us, I was like, this is a good test. Because we all talk about how you put a number on the game, it sells better. So
right.
Uncharted, 2, 3, 4. Are we at a point right now in the industry where you can say, hey, we are Naughty Dog, we're a label, and this is a game that we made, so does John Q. Consumer understand that?
Right.
And they did. The game sold really well. People understood that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're to the point of like, maybe you are. I mean, that's the thing. I'd rather see BioWare do Anthem and be like, we're BioWare. We made Mass Effect and Dragon Age and all these different things, and see the not community, but the consumer understand what that is. Because
Right.
I want us to get to a point where it is like, Martin Scorsese's putting out a new movie.
Right.
I don't care what it's about. I'm going to go see it because I understand that. Like, Kojima's been pretty fucking good about it. As much as people want to make fun of him,
Yeah.
I do Kojima game on everything. It's like, well, that does become a seal of approval when you want to branch out and do Death Stranding, when you want to
Totally.
go start something else.
I bet there's an increased marketing spend on it, but like I think like we had it with Red Dead as well.
Yeah.
With Rockstar, right?
Right,
Where they that was, and the weird thing about that was actually an old IP.
Yeah.
that
They took over,
acquired.
right?
So I think it is possible. But there's probably a bit more marketing on it. I don't think. Like criticizing a game based on, I know when they put trailers out that's them putting their thing out to be criticized, but I really dislike the idea of being overly critical of games before you get to play them.
Yeah.
Because that's all games are is the interaction between you and the software. So
Now, all that said, MSU Hitman, by all means, boycott if that's what you want to do. If that's
it.
how you want to take it. I mean, like,
More
vote with
for
your
the
wallet,
rest of
do all that
us.
stuff. You're communicating to publicly why you're doing what you're doing. That's fine.
yeah.
I'd rather see what Anthem's all about than, all right, well,
Yeah.
we said we're going to do more Mass Effect, so here's more Mass Effect. And we
They
keep
made
going.
BioWare have given us some of the best gaming experiences in the past 10 years. I feel like we should give them the benefit of the doubt.
Number 5, this is a short one. Because the Roper Report doesn't need to be, hey, here's a million things. It can just be, here's the news.
Boom, boom, boom.
Sea of Thieves has PC and Xbox One crossplay. This, of course, came up yesterday at Gamescom with the Microsoft stuff. Release date still early 2018.
Will it do crossplay with the Ubisoft?
No, I don't think it's gonna do that with their pirate
What's that
game.
called again? Can't remember.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and
yeah.
Bones.
There you go. Great Cyber Cell album.
Number 6, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds has now sold more than 8 million units. And Jesus, it just doesn't stop. And Microsoft announced during their conference they're publishing the Xbox One version, which Kotaku has a great article up of just like, more of what is an exclusive, what's not an exclusive, is
Yeah.
it really exclusive? And that's why the audience like, well, some kids wrote into the show today being like, oh, now they have it locked up. It's like, no, they're publishing the Xbox One version of the game, which still you could have a PlayStation 4 version of the game that's published by. Don't hold your breath. I'm going to play it on Xbox One. That'll be what I boot my console up for.
It could be something as easy as Bluehole and Brendan have never released a console game.
Yeah.
It involves a lot more weird shit and legal stuff, and like, oh, let's just let them do that.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
So we'll see what all that means,
Yeah.
but they're still saying early access or whatever. Not what do they call it on Xbox One?
Preview program?
Yeah, preview program this year still is what they're saying, but they're being dodgy about that. So don't hold your breath, but hope for the best. And then number 7 on the Roper Report, Jurassic World Evolution has been announced.
Woo.
Have you watched the trailer and everything for this?
did.
When I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck? Or not woke up, I was drunk. I'm looking at the phone, I'm like, what the fuck? There's McCaffrey's tweeting at the Xbox conference that there's a Jurassic game. Like, what is this? And it's like a theme park simulator.
Right.
Yeah. So coming summer 2018 to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. This is from Frontier Developments, who has worked on Roller Coaster Tycoon as well as Elite Dangerous. They put out a press release today. Some of the quotes are, as longtime fans of the entire Jurassic series, we're thrilled to be putting players in charge of their own Jurassic World, said Frontier's Chief Creative Officer, Johnny Watts.
Does anyone ever call it the Jurassic series?
Now they do. We're excited to bring over 15 years of management, simulation, and creature development expertise to a destination and franchise that remains an inspiration to us. The release goes on to detail Jurassic World Evolution evolves players' relationships with the Jurassic World film franchise, placing them in control of operations on the legendary island of Isla Nublar.
I never knew the name of that island.
Oh, yeah. There's
Isla Nublar.
and much of the surrounding islands of the Muteres archipelago. Players will build their own Jurassic World as they bioengineer new dinosaur breeds and construct attractions, containment, and research facilities. Every choice leads to a different path, and spectacular challenges arise when life finds a way.
Jeez. I hope you try and do some unlock something you haven't researched yet, and it goes.
Yeah, they got it. Come on. It's such a weird announcement, but also cool.
It looks rad.
I'm like, yeah, I love the theme park games. Like, yeah sure.
They show you building stuff, and then they show a T-Rex going on a rampage, which is like exactly what you need to do.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, me and my wife watched The Witch last night for the second time.
Okay.
The first time we watched it, she was playing a game which is really popular on PC called Banished, which is a essentially like a Settlers style isometric strategy game, where you're like a New England, like basically The Witch, where you're banished from a thing and you have to create your own like sort of community, right?
That sounds cool.
So it was really funny because we were watching this when the announcement came out, and I was like, oh my god, they've done a banished Witch with Jurassic Park. It's like basically the exact same thing, and it's such a good fit because like theme hospital's always been my favorite of that series by a fucking mile. It's absolutely amazing. Theme park was such a fun management. It was like a management game couched in something fun, which before that it was usually railroads, stuff like that. I mean,
boring adult bullshit.
A little bit. Yeah. So I think this is like an evolution of that again, where it's like Jurassic Park is essentially a theme park. But with this added element of, it's kind of like Zoo Tycoon, but on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like increased profits, but now the T-Rex is loose and like it's smashed up the park. Like that sounds super fun, and it's also, hey, what a cool way of taking an IP we know and putting it into a game genre I wouldn't have thought of.
Right.
In the fact, it's similar to that Planet of the Apes game that got announced, where it's we don't play at all. We just make choices. That's fucking cool.
Or this Rabbids Xbox thing. Well, I guess that's not a movie, but just the world is like somebody's spinning the random wheel of video game design and coming up with
exactly. It'll be this genre. It'll be this character. It'll be this thing.
What I can't wait to see is what happens after there's like what do you do after the T-Rex breaks out? Do you just is there just like a cleanup crew?
Yeah,
it's fixed. Come back in. We're good.
I assume.
Just close for a week.
Probably, right? Like you see your profits are dropping.
Yeah, like tickets are half
that'll
price.
That'll be the thing, though, right? You figured it would be, it smashes out, profits drop. You have to then hope that you have, like similar to the movie Jurassic World, you bioengineer a new dinosaur that's a new attraction that you can then promote and do that. But it'd be cool if you had to give quotes and stuff. Yeah, of course. It just keeps getting more and more dangerous.
Put more salt in the fries to buy more sodas.
There you go. Smart. Look at you. Look at you. Danny!
Yes, sir.
If I wanted to know what came to the mom and grop shops, where do I go?
The official list of upcoming software on each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show host each and every day.
Joey's proud of that one.
College degree. Paying off.
The memories, the memorization. Out today, Horizon Zero Dawn gets a 1.32 patch. What this adds is story difficulty. A difficulty even easier than easy. That you just want to play the story.
Oh, really?
You don't really want to get fucked with that bad. Here you go.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. Cool.
I thought it was Forza Horizon. Now I want Forza Horizon Zero Dawn.
West Slingers comes to PC. Dogo comes to PC. And then I got new dates for you. Biomutant.
Oh, yeah.
An action RPG from THQ Nordic, an indie developer. Experiment 101 is coming to PC, PS4, and Xbox One next year.
Some ex-Just Cause devs. It got leaked on a German magazine a couple of days back.
Yeah, they dropped the trailer for it. It looks interesting. It looks cool. Like you're like a little, fox or raccoon kind of creature.
Yeah.
And you got a
little tree friend.
Yeah, exactly. You're heading around this guy Quill. No, but you augment yourself and then go out and do all these different things. All right, cool. Final Fantasy 15 is coming to PC early 2018. It's the 10th anniversary of BioShock today, I do believe. So old. Available November 14th, BioShock's 10th anniversary collector's edition includes BioShock the Collection, which contains BioShock, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite, and each of the game's single-player DLC.
Great DLC.
And a collectible Big Daddy and Little Sister statue for $200, according to 2K.
Statue looks all right.
Yeah, it's the 11.9-inch statue was modeled after BioShock's original box art and features a fully motorized drill and light-up components as well as Big Daddy and Little Sister audio clips from the game. It's only available at GameStop and 2K Store.
There you go.
Ruiner has a release date on Xbox One, PS4, PC of September 26th. Fear Effect Reinvented, this is a remake of Fear Effect, is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC next year.
That's a game that I don't think is probably aged particularly well.
That's why they're reinventing it.
See about that.
And then Faye, is that how you pronounce this?
Faye?
Is coming, this is one of the ones that got announced today during the EA conference. It's coming 2018 to PS4, Xbox One, PC, and the Nintendo Switch.
Looks pretty.
It does look pretty. Yeah, it looked interesting. Deals of the day for you. HTC Vive has a permanent price drop.
It's a good one.
It's now down to $599 in the US. That's down $200 from $799. We're long in the tooth on this show. Stumpy Bumpy wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD and says, what does this mean, basically? Why do we think this is happening? Do you think there'll be a PSVR and Rift price cut as well? Even though Rift already had one. And then Joe also wrote in and was like, hey, with the PlayStation VR headset having been 15% off at Target last week through their free Cartwheel discount app, and now down to $350 on Amazon this week, do you guys feel like PSVR is shaping up to be the new Vita? I would say, you lump all this together, what's up with VR in general?
Right.
I think the industry was super bullish on it. and really interested in it. But like any other peripheral, it's hard to sell those kind of things and get people into it.
I mean, the Vive, like I used my Vive a couple of days ago. I use it relatively frequently. I think that makes sense for them because there will always be a new market that's they probably have the costing now to be able to bring the price down a little bit. They're manufacturing more of them. It sold relatively well, and I think that makes sense for them to have that like sizable cut. The Amazon thing could have been the 50% off. That might be seasonal in stock stuff as well. It might not be consistent. I think PSVR I'm a little bit more interested in because Sony are more responsible for the software library for that one, and I'm not. Is there a lot of VR stuff coming out?
Every week stuff comes out. Every week there's a couple games, but they're always like, hey, here's this experience. Hey, here's this little thing. Like it's not. I think it's.
There's no big like tentpole.
Exactly, and I would think that that's being worked on.
Yeah,
I would think that people have seen enough and got interested enough to make a AAA. Let's actually get involved. I mean, like Moss, right, is not AAA.
Right,
they're a small indie dev, but they're doing something cool with it, and I would hazard to guess that that's happening behind the scenes, and. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shapes up and how it all goes because it is. People were super excited for it. It sold really well for PlayStation. There's clearly demand there, but how do you satiate those people and keep them going? And then what happens if other people start getting out of the race? What if Vive is trying to cut and run? What are they seeing in the back end and with these games that we don't know about or don't understand what's happening?
Yeah. But
that was the thing. When everybody's getting super excited about it, I was like, it feels like 3D. Like, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Is it Vita again? I don't think so. I mean, it's definitely not going to be... You're never going to come to E3 and have this 45-minute segment that's mainly about PSVR or whatever.
Right.
I think PlayStation understood what they were going for and what they were building towards. There was a second part of his question that was like, will we ever get another iteration of it? From Joe's question was like, is it possible for even a second iteration of the headset? It's possible. I think PlayStation has to understand what's going on, but I think, like I've said before, this is similar to the Vita in that it came along in the right time for PlayStation, where they were getting weird again, they were being fun again, they were hungry again, but now they're back on top with what seems to be minimal effort in terms of like, they're not putting out an exclusive every month. Yeah. They're not like beating down doors. They're not chasing down indie devs anymore. I don't know how you balance that out with, hey, this machine's about games and gamers, and hey, there's this really cool tech that we're not sure how to sell or market properly, so how do we move forward with that?
I think, though they are both part of the same VR story, I think they have totally different market challenges. The Vive was never pitched at mass market. Like, it was always for enthusiasts. You need a big PC to run it. It's a room scale, so it's a totally different thing to PlayStation VR. You need to literally be willing to separate a part of your house to use it, as opposed to just having a television and it's sitting there. So, I mean, what we ultimately need is more applications that use this stuff really well. I think, at least on the sort of Valve side, there has been some really interesting stuff in terms of they added in this whole new, when you put the headset on, you're in like your home. You can go to different spaces with other people and hang out with them there. There's cool stuff that way. The Google Maps thing has blown people away. Like, I used it last week to test out where we were staying in New York and like get a feel for it. And like, now I know where all the local shops are from fucking about. Like, there are weird applications for this stuff which goes outside of gaming, but we still need to have maybe not a killer app, but a couple of more really good games. Games like Super Hot VR. If we got more and more of those, that would. And
I think you will. Like, that's the thing is, like, we can't be like, oh, where are all the AAA games? Like, or even just bigger game experiences.
Right.
I think they're being worked on. I just think it's that takes time and energy, and like, how do you promote it and how do you want to? And I'm sure PlayStation is talking about, like, it'll never be the lion's share, but I would imagine they want to put it out at PSX. They want maybe at E3 if they have, like, again, if they can come out and be like Star Wars and Batman like they did when they debuted it.
Right.
That's when you get out and you talk about those things. But PSX will be interesting to see what they talk about, how they talk about it. I'd love to hear, a recap on where they are right now with sales. I'd love for somebody to just talk on the record about what they think of it overall.
Outside bet for killer app. Battlegrounds. I would love it.
Yeah, I mean, people would lose their fucking mind if that happened.
If they had a VR only playlist for that and it worked with Track IR. I mean, Arma does. Arma works with Track IR and VR and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I would love to see them give it a try.
Okay,
that'd be super interesting.
Well, Danny, now it's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD. You give me your username, your platform, your game of choice, and why you need help. I read it here on the show. All the best friends hit you up. You all play games and have fun. Max wrote in. He's got a Steam/PC name of Max Coronar. That's MaxCoronar. He says, PUBG and other PC games such as Rust, Gmod, and Counter-Strike Go.
God, Gary's mod's so popular. What the fuck happened?
It's awesome.
God.
I mean, I
played it I played it like 13 years ago or something.
Really?
It's insane. It's insane how popular that thing is.
Is it getting more popular or is where it is now?
I think
it's popular?
like about 4 years ago, it reached like unbelievable limits of
Yeah.
people playing it. Like around that, like Minecraft.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, as being a console plebe, I'd never heard of it till we went and did early on with all this when we went and did Achievement Hunter Let's Plays.
Right.
And we played it. I was like, holy shit, is this
insane.
fun? This is so much fun.
To see people messing with Half-Life 2 assets.
Yeah.
In like 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
Is like, what? Yeah. It's upsetting.
Danny, what do we get wrong? Remember, if you watch the show live, you can go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. This is where you can post your corrections. Be our stat boy or girl.
I don't think we got anything wrong. I think some of these are
A lot of
things
editorializing?
yeah, or like things that you corrected me on the Mass State University thing. Here's what Age of Empires 4 has just announced: PC only, developed by Relic. Not in You're Wrong, but it just got announced.
That happened while we were doing this. All right, good. I can do it.
Which is rad. I
That's
love
fine.
the Age of Empires 4.
Keep it going.
I guess they did go Rise of Nations and all that sort of stuff. FET was announced originally at EA Play 2016. I don't think you said it was like announced. You just gave it a date.
Yeah, I was.
So I think
The
we're good.
Switch part was announced. I
think we're good. I think we got it.
All right, good. Well, there you go. Got a segment for you. It's called PSN's Worst Name of the Week. If you didn't know, Shuhei Yoshida hates you and won't let you change your PSN name no matter how bad you want to. So you write in with the bad PSN name you have or see from other people. We read it here. Shuhei laughs, and you never get to change it.
Right.
Today, Nick wrote in.
Give it to me.
Hi, guys. I'm Nick from Melbourne, Australia. Oh, governor.
Melbourne.
I added that.
Melbourne.
Here's my suggestion for worst PSN name of the week. I was playing Overwatch and was horrified when play of the game went to someone by the name of Fisty McCuntpuncher. That's right. Fisty McCuntpuncher. MCCNTPUNCHR.
Is this on console?
Yeah, this is on PS4.
PSN.
Can't believe this one slipped through the cracks of PlayStation. Loving the new show. Keep up the great work.
It's like a
Nick.
triple. That's like Fisty is on its own is
Fisty
suggestive.
McCuntpuncher.
I mean, just how is CUNT? Like
no,
how does
just
that-
CNT. That's how he did it. And that's what he's doing there. See how they drop a letter. We all know what it says, but it's not.
suddenly
It's
it's
not
like-
a flagged word.
They're like, I'm blind. I can't see the,
No,
the
can't
bad
do it.
word. Where
He
is
also
it?
dropped the E in puncher, so that was helpful. Got
That's
around with
upsetting.
that. Fisty, the way it should be spelled, though.
You know,
Just
PSN won't even allow you to change your region. So my Danny O'Dwyer PSN
Oh.
account is just Europe now.
that sucks.
I'm Danny O'Dwyer 2. I'm like
no
I'm
good.
like the Slipknot 1. PSN.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about before going on to talk about whatever you send in to kindafunny.com/KFGD. You can get the show live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, and we'd love your subscription. Even if you have just money, you could give us a subscription there. You go to Patreon too, patreon.com/kindafunny or patreon.com/kindafunnygames. But I digress. You can get the show on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, podcast services around the globe. You can see us live at GameStop Expo this weekend on Sunday. You can see us, me and Danny, at PAX next weekend.
Witcher panel Sunday.
Witcher panel Sunday. Cancer panel Sunday. Real uplifting times for these panels. Danny.
We're gonna have very different Sundays.
Yeah, no, well, I'll be around. We'll just go to each other's panels.
Yeah,
Fine.
sounds good.
Danny, I love you.
I love you.
Until next time,
Wednesday, I'll see you.
it's been our pleasure to serve you. Oh yeah, tomorrow's Tim and Andrea. I'm not here. I'm
Whoa.
gonna be up in Muir Woods with the Saint Ange clan.
Oh, showing them l'arbre.
I've never been.
Is that trees in
L'arbre.
French? L'arbre.
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 I don't think so. That doesn't sound right.
Voulez-vous
It is?
coucher avec
Joey shaking her head.
l'arbre?
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.